How many fists, ooh, how many fists does it take to get to the middle of my insurance company? At least 2. I had just the worst experience today. I can tell you the exact date. Let's take a look. Oh, June 30th of 2014, I paid $206.44 out of the $306.44 I owed for 2 or 3 months of insurance that I was having a hard time online paying it, so instead of just calling them, I'd been avoiding it. Well, I got a cancellation notice in the mail. I don't know when I got this. 6/16. So on the 30th, that was the soonest I could make a payment. I paid $206.44, and I was going to pay the other 100 exactly on the 11th with the next paycheck that we got, just because I was going to space it out, and they weren't canceling it until July 18th. So today's the 16th. That's 2 more days. However, I made a payment, that $206.44, on June 30th. After about 3 or 4 days, I noticed that it still hadn't come out of the account, which was weird because I paid... With my account, usually I pay a bill, I can refresh the screen, and biggity bam, there it is, the transaction, like almost all the time. Well, this wasn't happening. So I waited about 4 days, I think it was, and I called them and I said, hey, I noticed you guys haven't taken the payment out. What's going on with that? They're like, no, we got the payment. I'm like, it still hasn't come out of my account. They're like, well, you should probably call your bank because we have it. And I was like, okay. So I called the bank. And they said sometimes it takes a few extra days to process if it's like a smaller company or something like that, and which is what this is. And all the other ones are bigger companies, all my other bills. So I just thought nothing of it. I left $213.70 in there all the way to the 11th. Well, actually, there was more than that. It was like the last 3 or 4 days, there was only $213 in there. So I didn't touch it. Figured I won't go near it. There's my insurance money. Then Carol got her check and she got a bonus check, which was awesome, and it helped us out a lot. So I paid yesterday, $116.44 because the account online was showing that amount, and I was like, that's weird, that doesn't seem right. So I ended up Carol got a call yesterday at work on her cell phone saying that we had to pay $316.44 by the 18th or they were going to cancel our insurance. So I called them back yesterday, they were closed, left a message, they called me back today. I try to be as patient as I can with people all the time. You know this. You are a better example than I am, probably most of you. But I'm a very patient person. I can be very gentle with just about everyone in the world. But I got on and I said, hey, yeah, I was just like, can you bring up my policy? And I was just like, yeah, I said, I made a payment on the 30th of $206.44. And it should have reflected on the account by now. I said I called 4 days afterwards and I talked to someone to confirm that you got the payment. You said you got the payment. I called my bank. They said sometimes it takes a few extra days if it's a smaller business. Da-da-da-da-da. So, at this point, the money's been there the whole time for them to take. They haven't taken it. Now, about a week after our last pays, I thought nothing of it. It slipped my mind. So, I mean, we still have enough to cover it in there. However, I wasn't going to because I was very angry at this point. Now, I could have just said, Goose Fraba, settle down and just dealt with it calmly. And I did for the first hour, maybe. So, I started talking to them today. I explained the whole situation again. I said, there's no way I can pay you before the 28th at this point. I was just like, if we can't do business, then we can't do business, but I'm just saying that that's the only way I'm going to be able to pay you. And they're just like, well, we need it by the 18th. I said, well, it's been a pleasure doing business. And so they said, wait a minute, let me call the main office. And they got a little huffy with me. I was just like, what the fuck? I'm the one that should be huffy, not you, motherfucker. So, I really like putting the on fucker. Makes my day. Anyway, so They call the place. They call me back, and I'm on the road at this point. I had to run out to do something. They're like, they rescinded the cancellation, but they need you to pay $80. I'm like, fine. At that point, it's a decent compromise. Like, I'm paying them less than I would have had to have paid them, and they're not going to cancel my insurance. Then I just got to make one more payment after that, and I'm done until October, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how the hell that happened. Maybe I paid a little bit extra with taxes this year, or something like that. Which brings me to my next subject. I was watching the Game Over Greggy show last night, which is a pretty good show. They're pretty neat guys. They're a little young for me, little whippersnappers, but they're doing their thing. And they every night these 4 to 5 friends get together around a table, and they each bring a topic to talk about. Well, the first night this week was a really good one. It was one we've done on here before, actually. What would you do if you were the last person on Earth, basically? Unfortunately, I don't have anyone to bounce that off of. I'd like to do that one again with someone that I could bounce it off of. That would be fun. Yeah. And they brought up, Tim Geddes, the pure one, said he would do what he saw on the Nickelodeon shows when he was a kid. He would go to Toys R Us immediately. And he had a plan all in his head. He said he would go to the Legos and grab the big Lego sets, like the expensive ones, throw them in the carriage, because he got 5 minutes. Then he'd go to the video game section and start pulling the slips. That's triggered something in my head I hadn't thought of in 20 years, I guess. More than that, 25, 30 years? Like, I was a kid when they did that. And I'd go to Toys R Us because the only one around was in Swansea. I'd drive up there, and so at the time I was probably not Atari, maybe Sega Master System and Nintendo. And so you'd go to this wall that had all the boxes of the games, and if there was any available, there were slips right there, which is kind of lame, because now in hindsight, if there was a game I wanted that was rare and I didn't have the money, I'd just grab a slip. Because chances are, if it's a tough one to get, no one's going to be asking, like, you don't happen to have blah, blah, blah. Well, it could happen, I guess. Anywho, you had to get these slips for the games, and if there was a slip, that meant the game was available. Bring it to the register. The register now, the guy has to leave the register, go over to this caged room. I kid you not, it was a cage. And there was a little opening. He'd slip it to them. He'd slip them a Mickey. And then they would give you the game back. You'd come over to the register, and there you go. You're done. You can leave. I hadn't thought about having to go through that process in so long. I mean, that's going back to when my uncle would have to drive me to Swansea with my mother. Or my mother and Carolyn, her friend, would go there. It was very rare that I got there when I was a little kid because my mother didn't drive. And my dad was dead. You sons of bitches bringing that up now. I mean, do they need that much security for freaking Double Dragon? I guess maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe the times are changing. I do remember, even in Taunton in Massachusetts, that whole area, there was a lot of gang activity. Like, people were, like, fighting all the time and stealing shit and stealing cars and smashing things. Like, I remember hearing a lot of stories back then. There was an arcade called Ziggy's just on the Taunton-Rainham border on 44, heading towards, like, Lakeville, maybe? I don't know. Plymouth, like that direction. And, the hell was I just talking about? Anywho, the security. Ziggy's. And there was always fights there, and I used to hear stories about people busting each other's heads open with bats and stuff, and, like, I'm sure it was just a lot of stories, too, but there was DeWirt and Paul Ave, and, like, beyond that, I remember being a kid and, like, hearing about gangs all the way north to Boston or whatever. They must have just stopped, because I don't remember it, like, continuing after, like, 4th or 5th grade. Maybe it cleaned up its act. I don't know. And last night, there's two things I wanted to introduce last night. Well, the first thing, my wife is laughing. She's cackling. We watched Reading Rainbow, the very first episode ever. Yes, we did. It's nothing like what I remembered it. Like, the song's a little bit different than I thought, but it's close, very close. I think I had one or two lyrics wrong. And LeVar Burton is out of control. He's got super tight pants on, and like, he reminds me of a mix between someone who sings rock opera badly and someone who like just totally embraces what I think of the 80s. The clothes, the way he talks and dances and sings, and just the choreography and the cinematography of that show. And at the heart of that show, I think the message is, don't strive for much, kids. Watch the first episode. Do me a favor. It's probably half an hour, maybe like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you remember watching Reading Rainbow, go back and watch it. If you haven't, watch it too, because I think it's worth 30 minutes of everyone's life to watch the first episode of Reading Rainbow. I imagine it was the pilot, and it was like late 70s, early 80s feel to it. But everything was so depressing, like, Daddy lost his job. That's one of the books that they read. The very first book that they ever mention or read on there is about a kid whose dad is down on his luck as it is. They're barely affording to pay the bills. Him, his wife, and his kid are living in this shitty little apartment. And the kid keeps asking for a dog. And they're like, fuck off. You're crazy. We have no money. And so then he loses his job, and he's real depressed, and him and his wife are crying, and there's a scene where like he's there with no shirt on, and she only has a bra. Now this is a kid's book, a freaking children's book. It's very real, mind you, but almost a little too real. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a little weird. What a weird choice of books. And in the end, the boy goes out to do something sweet for his father, ends up finding a cat and bringing it home. And he only gets caught with the cat because he accidentally drops the milk from the fridge. And his dad and his mom walk in and look down and see him and the cat drinking the milk off of the floor. And they're like, they must have this moment of zen. Because they just grab him in a bear hug and they start crying all together. I'm not kidding. Go watch. You gotta watch the episode. And then it goes on to a musical act at the end of the show that I don't remember them ever doing that. They might have axed that. Like, and it's a good, like, 5 minutes song, choreographed to dance, and like, oh my god, it's like 1979 to 1982 all just smashed into a song. I don't know how else to describe it. You want to see what I'm drawing? I think you do. I think you should. This guy really like this. You know what's funny? This really started out as a very rough sketch. I just wanted to test a few things with my my pen, and this one particularly. This pen, hang on a second. I just got this at the Art Box in Lynchburg. It's Pentec Slicci, SLICCI, 0.25, and it feels like I am drawing with a pencil when I use it. And that's what I really kind of look for in a pen. I know I've talked about this before, but... And I gotta be honest, the quicker I do my strokes, they're not as perfect, but the overall effect when it's all said and done is exactly what I was looking for. I wish you could get the detail of this fine ass freaking... Like the hair that comes down below the jaw and the ear. Can you see that? I know it's a little wonky on monitors, but it's so fine. It's unbelievably fine. F-I-N-E, fine. Girl, before I met you, I was F-I-N-E, fine. I like Aerosmith. Oh, speaking of songs, I tried playing... I kid you not, there's probably like 7 or 8 copies of files. I can tell you just by looking down here. Let's see. Let's go back. At the very... So you guys don't... it sucks. I really would have liked to have done... Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... 9, because that's last night. And all of them are me trying to play 2 different songs, and I just cannot get through them. I wonder why. That's why. Might as well get a little crazy with it. Life's too short to not get crazy every now and again. Yeah, whatever. This desk is a mess, so I'm going to have to cut this before I go on to... well, let me wrap it up with this. There was one other thing I did want to do last night, and it wasn't make a horrible mess like this. Sometimes I just get a little out of control. I told you in the trailer, sometimes things are going to get nutty around here. Don't push my buttons. There's nothing to do here, and I don't want to destroy anything, so I won't do that. What's on the menu tonight? Sometimes, if I don't eat a lot during the day, which I usually don't, I get a little peckish at night, a little hungry, and so I thought I would start doing a little segment, which I was going to really make it a good intro show last night, is what's on the menu. Well, tonight I was out and about. I had to get a few things. Not tonight. It was this morning some point. From the grocery store. Now, I usually don't go to Kroger, but I needed to get Carol lunch, and she only eats very few things. And one of the easiest things for me to get her and get to her quickly is like sushi from Kroger. I'm sure it's not the best, but she likes it. I don't like sushi, so whatever. So while I was there, their clearance is crazy. They're not as good as Target, but they have pretty good clearance. Like when shit drops in price, it drops quick and fast and a lot. And if you're there when it happens, you just hit the lottery. Like one year, there were these blankets that were probably, I don't know, for a twin mattress, like that size, soft, the fleece, whatever, probably a cheaper fleece, but but it was very soft. And so they marked them down. How much is it? I want to say it might have been, no, it was like $1.90, I'm gonna say. And we always like to use those as throws on the couch, especially in the winter. It's nice to just have a few of them lying around. And so I think it was less than that. I think it was under $1, because I remember I was like, holy shit. I grabbed like one of every color immediately, and then I just started grabbing duplicates. I was like, you know, I can use these as gifts if anybody needs blankets, if we have people that stay over, if they need to go on the couch in the winter. Like, there's all these reasons. So I made out like Bandit. Well, today in their clearance section, I also got the Atari 2600 emulator thingy, the game that comes with like 60 games built in, for $7.50 there. Today I found this little treasure. Very cherry double dips. These are Jelly Bellies. They're very cherry jelly beans dipped in dark chocolate. Now, I'm not a huge fan of jelly beans. I'm not a huge fan of dark chocolate, but this appeals to me. This bag was originally $2.49. For how many ounces? 2.8 ounces. That's nothing. Usually, like, gummy worms are, like, for the store brand, like 9 ounces. So there's nothing to begin with. $2.50 is crazy. How much did I get them for? 40 cents. That's right. Yeah, I got 4 bags of them. They had orange ones, too. I almost went for some of those. I feel sticky and gross. I really got to wrap this up. I got to go wash up. Maybe I'll try to do a song again. I don't know. I'll review the other ones, and if anything came out okay, I'll put it up. It's too bad, because the first one was really good up until I started playing the song. I had a lot to talk about. Maybe I'll just edit out the song. I don't know. Thank you guys for coming by tonight. This is episode 112. Don't forget to make someone smile tomorrow. Make yourself a little bit better than you were today. And let's make the world spin a little happier together. It may sound corny, but that's my motto. That's my jam, as the kids are saying, I guess. I don't know. I'm too old to know what the kids are saying. I did buy a white colored pencil today, though. $1.99, son of a bitch. Alright, have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow night on episode 113 of The Road to 40 by Jason Oliveira. Produced by Jason Oliveira. Directed. Engineered. I don't know. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.